All right, welcome one and all to another out of band meeting. Technically Crypto Cove, technically not Crypto Cove. I'm not even entirely sure myself at this point. But in either case, we're here and we're going to talk about a couple things. And I know the main topic that's been on everyone in pool funding's mind right now is the situation with PML. I believe we're pretty much all familiar with the situation. So there's not really a whole lot of need to go over that. I imagine Ace will probably want to go over that himself on the next co-founders meeting. But until then, we move on to related topics. But first of all, can be a question of why you should listen to what I'm going to be saying on this call. And well, first off, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Is there anyone on this call that doesn't know me or at least know of me? No? Okay, that saves us some time. And you all may see me looking down at my phone every now and then. I had a lot I want to cover here, so I've got a bit of a rough outline as to what I want to go over, just to keep my thoughts put together. So the next part of the topic I want to go over is what happens immediately after the sell-off with PML. Now, when I noticed that, I immediately started checking on that, and as well as went into my emergency protocols as to what to do when that happens and how to help the community. Now, my first priority at that point was to, number one, help the executives at least start to unravel the situation. And I did start to do that, but soon I found that my attention was actually probably better spent talking with the community and trying to reassure them first thing. So that's when I went into that. And some of you may have seen my messages in the Wall of Joy around that time saying, hey, there's no need to worry, everyone. Everything's fine. This is just a bump in the road and whatnot. And yeah, that's where that went. And another thing that I did as part of my emergency protocol was ask people to reach out to me first before reaching out to executives if they had any issues, problems, or questions. So that way I could help them if I can. So that way the executives could focus on unraveling the situation with PML and working with the programmer as well. Because at that point, Ace had been woken up. He had woken up the programmer. So I imagine Maria and probably at least one other executive were locked in with Ace and the programmer trying to sort out the situation as best as they could. So with that in mind, another thing that I want to show you all, and let me make sure I have that up here. And some of you may not be aware of this yet if you know of me, but over the past few days, I've actually become a super whale and actually more of an ultra whale since I'm also a whale in PML, even though we technically don't count that for anything. So if anything, if there's anything to worry about, then I'd probably say that I should be one of the ones worrying the most concerning my position. When you guys say,
Yeah.
yep, and
Yep.
yet I'm not worried.
Yeah.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried whatsoever. And there's a good reason why for that. And it actually goes into just a little bit of a joke that I told on the whale meeting, but I'll tell it here as well. For anyone who doesn't know, I've been involved in crypto for about 14 years now. And does anyone know what we used to call days like that sell off in the beginning days of crypto? All right. Well, I'll say it. We called it Friday. It was a Friday. Or Saturday, depending on where in the world you are. So yeah, that was in fact a routine thing that happened during the beginning stages of crypto. It happened to Bitcoin a lot, like literally on a weekly basis. That's where the joke came from. And still, look at where Bitcoin is today. Well over $100,000, still going strong. And it's the most popular cryptocurrency out there. So they absolutely did something by it. What you say?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the point behind it that is, even though they experienced those sell-offs in terms of Bitcoin, that ultimately did not hurt Bitcoin in the long run. In fact, in some ways, that might have actually made Bitcoin even stronger. And so is going to be the case with us and our tokens, particularly with TML, since it saw the biggest drop. All right, let me see the chat here, see if anyone's. Nope. Okay, so with that out of the way, now some of you may not notice the actual price right after the event happened, but it actually got down to, I think it was $7,000 is what I saw. And that was barely not even 48 hours ago. But look where we are now. We're at $461,689. So in a matter of not even 48 hours, we've started recovery quite a bit, and it's still going. So the community will recover, the tokens will recover, and we'll end up stronger in the end because of it, because now we know one of the ways that bad actors might try to pull one over on us, so we can start to fight against that more and more and prevent that from happening more and more. And like the video said that we just watched a few minutes ago, it's very good that this happened to us now rather than later, because that shows us a lot more what we can do when we're still early on in our history. Pool Funding is almost 2 years old, everyone, but bottom line is we're ultimately still an infant, really, in terms of what we've been doing, in terms of our membership, and in terms of our projection, insofar as what we can do and what we want to do with Pool Funding. So, yeah, it's very good that we learned this now. Ace has said that he doesn't consider this to be a bad moment. He considers it to be a teaching moment. The folks who try to pull one over on us are teachers rather than anything else. I'm not entirely sure that I 100% subscribe to that line of thinking, but I do understand where his heart is at there, and I do absolutely respect it. Just being honest. So, like I said, I'm not worried. We shouldn't be worried. So, with that in mind, I can understand how it may be concerning to some people because all of a sudden they might have seen, this is in the way. Whoops. They might have seen their wallet value go down quite a bit. Let me go over to the Binance Smart Chain. And before that sell-off, my wallet value was somewhere around $20,000. So to be at 7,467 is quite a big drop, wouldn't you guys say?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, like I said, I'm not worried because most of these tokens are ones that we're going to move away from soon anyway. We're going to be moving away from PFB, PFI, PFS, and PFG. And insofar as PML goes, one thing that a lot of crypto newbies generally don't understand, at least not for the first while, is that there's only one way that you can ever lose money in crypto. Does anyone know what that way is?
To sell it?
To sell at a loss. You had the right idea, Karen.
Selling.
So, but right now, the PML I have is a bit of a loss here. Obviously, I'm not going to sell that anyway, but it wouldn't be a good idea to sell it even if I could sell it, because then I'd be selling at a loss. And that's the only way that I lose money in PML, because right now this is an unrealized loss. For anyone who's done anything with the stock markets, precious metals, or anything of the sorts, you understand that quite well. But the gist of it is that this can't actually be a loss because nothing has actually been lost yet. And in fact, that's another point that I do want to go over, because some members might also not understand that their tokens are safe. Nothing happened to their tokens themselves. In fact, if we go over to my wallet address on BSC Scan, these are the transactions that have taken place in my wallet over the past 2 days, over the past series of events. And you can see that there's really not that much of a drop here. Now, my tokens went to their wallets. I can point to any of these transactions and tell you what they're from. Like, for example, these two transactions about 34 hours ago were from me creating loan offers. So I was sending out PML to the PML smart contract to do that. But that was something that I did as part of regular operation. That had nothing to do with the situation at that point. And actually, I believe that this was just before the situation. So then from then on, we can go up. We can see my regular payments. And yeah, and 7 hours ago, I made another loan offer, which again, this is just regular operation. And if we look at the PML coin that I have in my wallet in particular, since that got hit the hardest, again, I can point to every single one of these transactions and pretty much tell you what that was from. So my coins are safe. Nothing happened to my coins because of this event. I still have the exact amount of coins that I started with that I would have had anyway, even if this event had happened. And I'm just using myself as an example, but that's going to be the same for each and every one of you. And if you take one thing from this call, let that be it. Nothing has happened to your tokens. Your tokens are still safe. And the value lost is value that we're not too concerned with right now, because in most cases, it doesn't mean anything to us. And even in the cases that it does, it's still not that big of a deal because we're not selling anyways. So we are not going to realize that loss. Let me check the chat here. Yep, this isn't paid training, folks. I keep going over that, but yeah, don't put your wallet address in. You're not going to get anything for this. Let me go ahead and delete that. So with that in mind, does anyone have any questions about anything we've gone over so far before we move on? No? Am I doing my job too well, folks? It seems like Ace is rubbing off on me more and more these days.
I have a, hi, Hunter, I have a question.
Okay.
I came in a little late, so, I know what you covered, and I understand what's happening there. I have a question about, you said no coins were lost and so forth. However, can you explain to me that, because I was a super whale and now I'm bumped out of the standings there or the level. And is that a whole different aspect of
Yeah,
all?
yeah, we can take a look at you in particular after if we'd like, but what it sounds like is that someone else took the opportunity since the coins are at bargain basement prices to come in and become whales themselves and bump you out of the whale list. So it sounds like that's probably what happened in this case. We can check after the call if you reach out to me if you'd like, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened because that's happened quite a bit, or the whale list, since again, we're seeing tokens at such low prices, so people are taking advantage of bargain basement pricing.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I'll reach out to you. Yeah, I'm having some issues with my bank and putting monies into my USDT. And so yeah, so I'm a little little frustrated with all of that part of, what we're doing here. So but yeah, that's more of my issue with my bank and my and what my options. So thank you. I appreciate
No
it.
problem. All right, anyone else before we move on to the next point I have here? All right, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at the coin prices since we're talking about this. Now, we've already looked at PML. That hasn't really changed because there hasn't been any activity in the, what has it been, 30 seconds, a minute? So let's go over to PFI. And PFI is at $546.32 per token. EFB is at $584.14 per token. PFS is at $1,876.01 per token. And PFG is at $2,291.51. Folks, our price targets for the tokens are as follows. For PFI, it's $500,000. For PFB, it's $1 million. For PFS, it's $2 million. And for PFG, it's $4 million. As we just saw, we're seeing some bargain basement prices now, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. And I know some people are concerned about that, but keep in mind that we're going to be moving away from these tokens in the transition. And even if we weren't, you should still see that is absolutely a great opportunity. And to make that example, let me choose someone to pick on here. La, 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 la. Ah, Karen, you shall be tribute. Can you go ahead and unmute?
Okay.
Alrighty. So, Karen, what would you say your favorite restaurant is?
Oh. Hmm.
Mm,
Let's say Swiss chalet.
Ah, excellent. And what would you say your favorite dish from there is?
Well, chicken. Roasted chicken.
Fair enough. All right, so what if you went there and you were told that the roasted chicken was 75% off of what its usual price is? How would you feel about it then?
Oh, I'd feel great. Feel like I got a bargain.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. You wouldn't you wouldn't really feel concerned about that. I mean, granted, you probably would since, hey, what's happening here with this restaurant? But
Yeah.
let's just say that everything's going fine with that. So yeah, you would definitely feel that you got a bargain. And
Exactly.
yeah, would anyone else feel differently about that at all here?
No, it'd be good.
Yep,
I feel
that would
like your
be
dollar would go further.
exactly. And that is the case with our tokens right now. You get more for your dollar. So do not see the lower token prices as a cause for concern, worry, or anything like that. See it as the opportunity that it is. Because Karen, if you knew that roasted chicken was 75% or heck, let's say 9% off, then chances are you might actually want to get some more than the amount that you usually get, would you?
Well, definitely, you'd buy some extra and take it home and have it tomorrow, or freeze some, or yeah, definitely.
Or just see that's right there if you decide you want to pick out that day.
Yeah, big
we
out.
we have quite a few whales on this call today, folks. Let's live up to that designation.
Just make cups of tea. Huh? Just make cups of tea.
Uh, anyway, right, let me look back here real quick. So anyway, if we go back over to PML, let me pull that back up. And no more where we can see where the whales are acting, then we can see it right here. Because as I just said a while back, this was around $87,000 right after the event with the sell-off, but now we see it going back up quite a bit. And that's partly from the whales doing and partly from the community's doing, because the whales know a good value when they see it. The community hopefully knows a good value when they see it. And the whales have committed to getting this back up to a good price because they're getting some nice perks to do so. Now, I can't talk about those because that's whale knowledge only for whale size only, but the incentives for whales to help push the price up are very good indeed. I'll say that much and leave it at that. So the whales are going to do this with or without the community. But if you decide you want to be part of the community efforts, you yourself can get a piece of that while the whales are pushing the price up. So I don't know what sort of analogy you would have for that. Maybe someone can think something up for that and put it in the comments section. But in any case, yes, this is still a great value even at this price. The whales are going to be pushing it up further. So this is definitely one of those things where it can be a safe bet for you if you decide you want to put some in, and you can absolutely use the PML anyway because the lending platform is still up and running. This event did not affect the lending platform whatsoever. All right, so I'll go ahead and stop my share. So I guess the gist of that segment is to buy tokens if you can, because these are bargain basement prices that we are never going to see again. Never. All right, so with that, we'll go ahead and move over to the section that I specifically had slated for Q&A. Does anyone have any questions about anything that I've gone over here?
Hunter, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. When I first noticed or was brought to my attention yesterday about these sudden drops of the coins, PML was at 74,000. So it was down
Oh,
even.
74.
Yeah.
Okay, then I
So,
stand corrected.
well, no, but yeah, so it
Yeah.
is rebounding very nicely, I guess
Yeah, it
is the
is.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, it is absolutely rebounding very nicely. The whales are doing a great job of that. And you can definitely see some of the community also helping with that as well. The community knows a good value when they see it, as I've said.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? Jeffrey, you have your hand up.
Yes, sir, Hunter. Would taking as many loans out as you have offered, I know we can't take but 4 out a month, but would that help the price? Just everybody jump and grab some loans? It's just an
Not
idea.
not directly, because the lending platform has nothing to do with the market itself. But from there, we could also see that more and more people would need to buy more P&L to pay off their loans when the loan comes due or whenever they decide to pay it back. So that would help indirectly, because that would give us positive price momentum because of the buys in that case. But that won't directly help, because the actual taking out of the loan has nothing to do with the market. All that happens completely off the market.
Got you. It'd still be helpful, but not. Yeah, I got you.
Indirectly, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and in fact, if anyone here hasn't taken out for loans for this month, then I would absolutely recommend you do so if you can, because we still have the rebate system going on. So anyone who takes out loans and pays them back is going to get a nice bit from that, because they're going to get a double rebate from that for as long as we're above the price floor of 50,000, which PML didn't even go down to, even when it was its absolute worst in that sell-off. So that should definitely tell you something about what we built here, even now, wouldn't you say?
Good point.
Yep,
Yeah.
Good point.
yep, I would say.
All right, does anyone have any other questions?
So I just
Oh.
wanted to ask, what do you think, what would be the best way to help with this per person, or what should we do? Because you remember
Well,
that was before that Ace said that he set it up like we can take some of the PML and transfer it to any coins we want to. So if you want to be a whale, then you can be a whale, or you lost your position, you can get back on. And he was talking to me about it. Is it still available, you think? Because
you're
I still have still more than $6,000. So I'm just wondering, because I lost some of my whale thing and I would like to get it back, you know. So I'm just wondering if they're still gonna be available.
you're talking about the internal exchange, which was actually part of what caused the issue
Yeah,
here,
yeah. He
because
stopped doing
the
it, yeah.
exchange contracts got hacked. So that's unfortunately the blessing that led to this, because a lot of people made out like a bandit from this when they were supposed to. Heck, even I did. That's how I ended up as a super whale, from doing an internal swap for a lot of PML to the different pool funding tokens. But unfortunately, that's not going to be available, at least not in this automated manner, at least not for the next while. I know that Ace said on the whale meeting, and I'm okay with sharing this, that what he'll probably do for the whales and or people that have over 6K of token is eventually he's going to get to the point where he might just do that exchange person to person, just manually. Yeah, he's not prepared to do that as of yet. So folks, do not reach out to him and ask about that. And anyway, yeah. It was great while it lasted, but unfortunately, that is part of what led to the situation with PML.
Yeah, I wanted to wait till the next day because he said he's gonna help me, and then this happened, you know. So I was
Yeah.
kind of waiting for Ace to help me with it. But yeah, I just have to wait then, right? I'm not gonna ask him
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
Okay.
it's unfortunate, but not that much I can say, but it is what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we still can buy some, right?
Yeah,
We can still buy
absolutely,
some coins and get into that.
absolutely.
I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
that's
I
a
would
good
like to
idea.
get back. Yeah, I lost some of my standing there. I have to
Yeah,
get back.
yeah, we need to restore the rightful balance of things. You need to be up there.
I know.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet you when the whales go on tour.
I know, huh? That would be awesome.
Alrighty, and Mary, you have your hand up. Are you there? We can't hear anything, Mary. If you're sorry, if you're talking, we still can't hear anything. Okay, well, we'll move on, and if you get back, let me know, and we'll get to your question, or if you want, you can also reach out to me after the meeting. But anyway, if
Can you
we,
hear me now?
there we go. Now we got it.
Okay. I was in my car and I don't know, it was hard. I couldn't figure out. Anyhow, my question is, I understand we got hacked because of the exchange, right? And
Well, go ahead.
well, okay. I mean, is that correct in my thinking that it was through the exchange that we got
So,
hacked?
so it wasn't through the exchange itself. What happened is that some kind of pro that likely does this for a living found a vulnerability in the smart contracts that handles the exchange. And they were able to impersonate the owner of the exchange. And from there, they were able to take out quite a big chunk of the PML that was in the smart contract that was controlling the exchange. So it wasn't the exchange itself that led to this. It was a bad actor that unfortunately found a chink in our armor, so to speak.
So, do you think you'll ever be able to find or like get to the source of the hack? Or I mean, like in other words, like in the past, I know you've been able to figure out who, sold, there's, I guess, no way to really find the hacker is, I guess, my question.
There's an ongoing investigation into that, so I, of course, can't really comment. But what I can say is that, judging from what I've seen from the blockchain, whoever did this is a pro because they were using most of the very same methods that I myself would use if I decide I want to turn evil one day and mess everyone over.
Oh,
So
okay. So I guess my question is, the way to prevent something like this from happening again would be to have a audit. I mean, I don't understand how we would prevent that from happening again.
So what the audit would do is it would look at the smart contracts we're going to deploy with a fine-tooth comb and run it several times through test nets to try and find the vulnerabilities in that smart contract, the very same type of vulnerabilities that this bad actor seems to have exploited. And that audit then gives us the tools we need to patch those vulnerabilities to fix those chinks in our armor, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
because yeah,
I'm not
I
saying
just wouldn't want this
go
to
ahead.
happen over and over again. That's the thing. But
Right, absolutely. And we're
Mhm.
definitely going to be working on prevention from here on. We're going to do what we can to prevent that from happening. Now, it's not 100% guaranteed because that nothing in crypto is 100% guaranteed. Heck, nothing in life is 100% guaranteed. So we can't absolutely 100% prevent attacks from happening, but we can make it as difficult as possible for any possible attackers to hopefully prevent that from happening as much as we can.
I mean, I would assume that it would be somebody that knew about the community that did something like this. Like it had to be somebody, you know, uh, that knew what to do. I mean, they knew about the community. So, I
Yeah,
don't know.
can't Ace just change the smart contract like he is doing with the pool funding coins? Can't he just swap it over and maybe not give anyone knowledge of it?
Well, he could, but ultimately that smart contract is deployed on the website regardless of which iteration of the smart contract is used. So anyone who's watching the programmer's bullets is going to find that anyway. So that would get found in either case.
Mm. Shit.
Everything is transparent on the blockchain.
And how long do you think it would take for the third party to come in and do an audit? Like, would it take like months or like just
So
how
I
long does something like that usually take?
So I know that based on the programmer, we're looking at a lot of different options. We definitely want to err more on the side of being thorough here than being fast for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I'd the just an answer, and I know this really isn't going to be satisfying to you, is it depends. Because I've seen some smart contracts that are relatively simple get fully audited in a matter of just a couple days. I've seen smart contracts that were probably 100 times more complex than ours are, and those took the better part of a year to fully audit. So I don't really have a great answer for you, unfortunately, other than that's really why it has a little time frame. But it's definitely going to be more than a few days. I'll say that much.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, there's a big dose of mustn't be too hasty here because, like you said, we don't want this sort of thing to happen again.
Yeah, no, that's my concern. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Does anyone have any further questions or comments? Jeffrey, you have your hand up again.
Yeah, this doesn't really go over what we've been talking about, but just in the future, I know it's got to be on some minds other than mine. When we go through the transition, when our values become those new values, the new coin values, is it the smart contracts that are going to guarantee that, or can you help me with that?
So it's not the smart contracts that are going to guarantee that, it's that the tokens themselves, once they launch, they're going to launch to us at those price targets because ACE is going to cause the price to go up to our price targets because he'll hold pretty much all of the token at that point, and he'll also hold plenty of USDT to get to where we want to be. So it won't be the smart contracts that will do that. It will be Ace and Company that will cause the tokens to start at that price.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Thank you.
And no one but probably Ace and the programmer will have those tokens at all to begin with. They'll all be locked up in the smart contracts, at least the ones that aren't in the liquidity pools. So if anyone wants to try and hurt us using those new tokens, they first have to buy those new tokens on the open market on PancakeSwap. And with price targets like that, anyone who wants to even try to hurt us has to plop down a wedge of cash to even have a chance at doing so. And that filters out a lot of people right from the get-go, obviously.
Very good. Okay. Thank you.
Alrighty, does anyone have any other, Angela, you have your hand up?
Yes, Hunter. I have a question in terms of what is the qualification as far as the training, not tonight, but the other nights that we have training, what is the qualifications? Do we still do if for a while it was $100 of to buy PML? That was one of the things, but the other thing is that we were every night we were paying $1 to, I guess, do you remember that? And we're still doing
Right.
that, correct?
Right, let me go over to the qualification page, and yes, we're still doing all of that.
Okay,
All right, so here are the qualifications. We have the verification. I would hope everyone here has been verified by now. If you haven't, you really need to get on that right now. Trusted, now that's a process that Ace himself goes over where he manually signs off on everyone being able to get distribution one by one. Completed profile, that means that your profile over in your accounts tab is filled out completely and properly. And the section you're talking about, activating at least the $1 pool, you have to stay active and make your payments each and every day in at least the $1 pool to stay active. And these 4 will also prevent you from being at risk for suspension. If we do another suspension drive just to get some other accounts out that shouldn't be here anymore. Now, the last one is for the paid training portion only, but yes, this also is important. You need to have purchased $100 worth of PML through the promo on the website. And I've already done that, so you won't see it on my end, but we can click here to go to the promo page. And you might have seen it flash there for just a second, but unfortunately, it's not going to show up for us here because I've already done that market buy. But there's a couple videos on the Bitcoin Ace channel that go over doing this purchase. So watch those if you haven't done this yet, and that they'll essentially walk you through it, assuming you have the USDT ready to go.
thank you, Hunter. Yes, I've done that already, so I just wanted to make sure that nothing else has changed.
Yeah, nothing else has changed. You still have to be active. Nothing's changed in that regard.
Thank you very much.
All right, does anyone have any further questions?
Hunter,
I think we had two at once here, and I think Karen started just a bit before. So Karen, you can go first.
Thanks,
Then
Hunter.
we'll get to you, Paul.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but we had a new chart that was released today. Would you be able to explain the different columns in that new chart? Our holdings chart?
You're talking about the holdings chart.
Right.
Let me go ahead and go over to there. I honestly haven't really had a ton of time to look over this myself just yet. So take what I say here with a rock of salt. I imagine Ace is going to go through this on the next co-powers meeting as well. But
Well, I got every confidence in you.
Yeah. All right, so if we look down this row of the charts, we see PFI, PFB, PFS, PFG. Those are fairly obvious, so not going to go over those. Now, what we see here for the wallet section, that tells us how much we have in our wallet at that point. So, for example, we can see that I have 2.2, etc. PFI in my wallets, and that's not in my PF holdings that are in my account. That's what's in my actual wallet. We can see that I have 2.2 PFI. And under PFB, we can see that I have 1.04 PFB in my wallet, in my MetaMask wallet. I have 1.01 PFS. And I have 0.005, etc. PFG in my wallet. Now, dollar value, that shows us the dollar value. And that's actually based off of our price targets. So for 2 PFI and change roughly, that gives me a dollar value of 1,286,793.
No.
And we have a similar story here with PFB, even though that should be a million then in that case, if that's going off of the same thing, because I have over 1 PFB in my wallet. PFS, and again, that should be 2 million, but for some reason it's not. It may be that something still needs to be worked on here. I can't say. Right, PFG, similar story here. All right, and holdings, this goes over the holdings that, judging from the look of things, haven't been paid out to your wallet just yet, but the system is holding based off of the 90-day seasoning period. All right, and dollar value shows the dollar value of the tokens you have in holdings. Again, I'm pretty sure that looks like it's based off of our price targets. And for these columns, the PFG section is obviously going to be empty because we don't have the $1,000 pool yet. So, you know, that's not a glitch. If that shows up on your end, that's normal. All right, and here we have the collateral. Now that's pulling data from Pool Micro Lending. That's the collateral that you have up for loans that you've taken out. And I paid off all my loans, so I don't have collateral out on any of these, so not to worry. Dollar value, it's going to be 0 in my case here because, again, I don't have any loans taken out. I paid off all my loans. But if you still have loans pending, you'll see the dollar value of your collateral here. Total amounts is going to add up everything in these columns here to create a total of the PFI that is under your name, so to speak. And total dollar value, that adds up the dollar value of the entirety of what's in the total amounts. All right, and new coin dollar value, Okay, so maybe it was looking at, maybe this is going by the current price. Okay. Oh, yeah, that looks like a period there, a point there. Let me see if I can zoom in here. And yep, that's a point, not a comma. Okay, so folks, ignore everything I said about dollar values here going off of the price targets. It is in fact going off of the current prices of the tokens on the market over in this section. But if we go over here, we can see new coin dollar value. That shows us the dollar value of the amount of token we have over in the new token prices. So over here in the case of PFI, and let me just zoom in here. All right, so I have over to PFI. So I'm looking at 1,161,573 dollars based off of the price target on our new coins. Mature coin dollar value. I'm not entirely sure what that's meant to be off the top of my head. I'm sure someone in the comments is going to comment on that with their suggestions, or it's probably going to be gone over line by line in the future, and someone's going to come back and correct me on this. So anyway, the co-founder bonus is basically the amount of tokens you have multiplied by 10x if you qualify for the co-founder bonus. And that's going to be 10x your tokens if you qualify to hold the co-founder position after we start counting days and a couple other aspects of the co-founder position. Right now, we're not counting that, but we will. Total coin held. And that's going to be the co-founder bonus plus the tokens that you hold, because the co-founder bonus is going to be a straight 10x or rather 11x of your tokens if you look at it from a certain point of view. So say that I have 2.2 PFI here. If I qualify for the co-founder bonus, I'm going to end up getting another 22 PFI. And apparently a bit extra from my holdings here. Yep, that sounds about right if we add those up to the total amounts. So in that case, if I qualify for the co-founder bonus, then I would get 23 PFI for a total coin held of 25.5, etc. PFI. For a grand total dollar value of, and let me go ahead and zoom in here, of 51,109,216 dollars. And ours using PFI as an example, but it's going to be a similar story across the board for all four of our tokens here. And I wish that there was a column here to add up the entirety of the grand totals, but we can see that my grand total dollar value across all the tokens is going to come out to over 200 million. So congratulate me, everyone. I'm a multimillionaire.
Congratulations, Hunter. Thank you.
Yeah, and congratulations to all of you, because you're probably multimillionaires as well right now. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
Alrighty, are there any further comments or questions?
Yep, I had one answer.
Right, Paul. All right, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, in my PML account, I've got over 30 open. So what's going to happen with those? Because I'm rebuying on a daily basis, but they've been open for over a month now.
So the loan pipeline is going to continue to go through all the loans that are in the pipeline. So nothing's going to happen to those. They're going to get taken out when their time comes in the loan pipeline. Yeah, that part of
Okay.
the system will continue. That's normal operation at that point.
Yeah, it just that it seems that it's a little bit of a delay. Before they used to take probably 4 or 5 days before you'd get an active loan. But yeah, a month is quite a bit because that's physical
Yeah,
money coming out of
there-
my account.
there has definitely been a delay, but we're going to bring the double dip live credit online as well as the bridge. And I imagine we're going to have some form of the exchange in one form or another in the future. So between those three things that are going to be coming online, we're definitely going to start to see more and more new people coming in using the loan platform first before we introduce them to pool funding. And that's going to get to the point where we might end up having the opposite problem where we don't have enough lenders to keep the loan pipeline full for the demand for lendings or borrowings rather. And
Okay, now
I'll be the first to admit, and Ace will be the first to admit that this is a difficult tightrope to walk that we're trying to walk here. It's definitely going to take us a while to dial in completely, but look on the bright side. You're an early adopter here, so when it gets to the point where we do have that problem, it means all your loan offers are going to get snapped up like that. So
yep.
yeah,
No,
it is a problem. Go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just going to say, I know I do understand that, and that's why we're in for the long haul, and that's why we've got patience to go with it also.
So it is a problem right now. It absolutely is a problem right now, but it hopefully won't be a problem for too much longer.
No, all good. Thanks, Hunter.
Absolutely. All right. Any further questions or comments? Angela, you have your hand up.
Yes, Hunter, I have one, well, actually, two questions. What you went
Alrighty.
over earlier, as far as just showing us line by line, I'm not able to see that on my, I don't know why, on my pool funding, I can't see like just all that information. Is there some place that I need to go or do something I need to do differently?
You might have to refresh your account page, and where you would find that is it's under the Explore tab, and then you'll see holding.
Okay. And then the other question I had is if you have holdings, and that hasn't, it's been 90 days and it's not distributed yet, it's just, it's holdings, I'm trying to remember what coin it was. When will that be distributed?
Depending on the coin, you might want to reach out to a member of the executive team about that. If it's PFS that you're talking about, then we have that quarantine until probably beyond the launch of the new tokens. So if it's PFS, then I can tell you that's the reason why, because we're not doing a distribution for PFS right now.
Okay,
Just full stop.
okay. And basically, for a very long time, I think what I'm understanding is if we were looking to take anything out, it's not out of, we're gonna borrow against the money, but we're not actually gonna take anything out for a very long time. And I apologize, I don't know another way to ask the question. It's just, do you know what I mean by that?
Are you talking about the
Whatever it
token value
is,
that we're going
right.
to borrow against?
Well, basically, you could say, hey, this is the value of my account, like you were saying. It was 2 million, and I'm just saying in terms of that, it's not like that's on paper, Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I don't know another way to phrase it.
Yeah,
So,
I think I get what you're getting at, and the answer is that is yes, but no. Ultimately, what we want to do with the tokens at this point is for that their value to rise, so we can add that value to do whatever we like with them. Selling absolutely would may be part of that eventually, but one of the bigger draws is going to be to leverage the value of those tokens to get something that we may want with them. So that's a big answer, agreed, but that's where we're at right now, and I can definitely tell you that there's a lot to come with our tokens. Definitely.
thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help.
Absolutely. All right, do we have any further questions or comments?
Appreciate you putting this together.
Mhm. You're very welcome. All right, so if there's nothing else, this did get a bit on the heavy side this time around, more heavy than we usually get. So I'd like to end this on a relatively high note with a update on the token adding tool that I have on my blog site / dumping ground / whatever you want to call it. And let's just go over there. And it's still the same link, everything's still the same about it. But when you go to click on the add all tokens to MetaMask button now, and yep, we can see that USDT is still the same here, but that's not what I had in mind for us to be looking at right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click add token. And you'll see one thing I was able to do recently is a small quality of life improvement to the token adding tool is I was able to add the actual images of all of our tokens to the token suggestion dialog here. So we see PFS for PFS, the PFP token symbol for PFP, and etc. Just go down through the images. And I initially just did that because I was tired of looking at the Jaticons all the time. But I'd say this is a small but meaningful quality of life improvements to token adding, because that definitely helps people to feel more confident about our tokens, both for the newcomers to crypto and the seasoned pros alike, because now they can have a way to sort of verify visually that they're looking at the right token. And that'll also help them to double check at a glance what token they're looking at without necessarily having to look at the exact name over here and get into the weeds of the token. And if you haven't added tokens yet, this will allow you to add them in a pretty streamlined way. But if you already have the tokens and you don't have these images, you can add them just by going through the token adding tool. And that's not going to change anything about anything that your wallet shows in terms of what you have as far as tokens goes. So the only change that you see here, if you had them all, is going to be cosmetic. The only change you'll see is that now you'll see the token images. So I'll go ahead and click add token and hit OK here. And we can see, and some of you eagle-eyed folks might have seen this earlier when I opened my wallets, that we have the token images here for all the tokens. And in most cases, you'll actually see that as well when you go to transact using the tokens. Like, for example, if you create a loan offer using PML, you'll see the token image above the PML symbol when you're in that transaction request to create the loan offer. And it's going to be ditto for all of these when you are taking out a borrow and using one of these tokens as collateral. So yeah, bit of a minor improvements there, but I'd say an important one. So definitely nice to end on a high note, I'd say. Does anyone else have any thoughts or questions that they want to go over?
Nope, just a comment, Hunter. I just put those new token icons in my wallet. Looks really cool. Thank you very much for putting that together.
Excellent. Glad to hear it.
And it's simple to do.
All right, anyone else? All right, I'll go ahead and stop the recording then.